welcome to our video about emergency dismounts. Our goal with this video, hi Rocky, is to make sure that you know the steps to safely take your rider off the horse in the event of an emergency. Now, what kind of emergencies are we talking about? This could be if the horse spooks or the horse is getting nervous because of something going on outside of the arena or in the arena. They begin to get quick. Obviously, we'll try to work through it, but if it looks like the horse is not able to calm back down, the instructor may say it's time to pull the rider off the horse. It can also be a situation where something's going on with the rider. Some of our riders may have a seizure while they're on the horse. Some of our riders may be having a tough day and become a bit aggressive with the horse or the sidewalkers. So there may be a situation where we need to take the rider off quickly because of the riders having a problem. Another situation that could occur is if inclement weather came in quickly. For example, we suddenly get the alert that we're in a tornado warning, or a thunderstorm appears and we see lightning and we need to get off the horse quickly. The horses are getting nervous. So it can be environmental, it can be rider related, it can be horse related. So there's lots of reasons we need to take the rider off. This can come from your instructor telling you it's time. You may notice something that the instructor doesn't, so please let them know my horse is getting nervous or the rider's having a tough time. It's a communication between you and the instructor will make the final call to say we're going to take the rider off the horse. So when we decide to do an emergency dismount, if we have the option to decide, the instructor will let you know it's time to take the rider off the horse. If the instructor is able to help, they will come and take the rider off the horse. If not, it may be up to you, the sidewalker, to assist the rider off. Sometimes an emergency happens so quickly that you are only able to react. So please go ahead and make that decision on your own if the instructor does not have time to get over there to pull the rider off. At the end of the day, the point of the emergency dismount is to do everything we can to get the rider safely off the horse so that they are not injured. So in an emergency dismount, everyone has a different role. I am currently the horse leader with Rocky, and if an emergency dismount needs to happen, I'm going to stay with Rocky the horse. I'm not going to be involved with getting the rider off the horse. That's what the sidewalkers will do. So as the horse leader, I'm going to do everything I can to calm my horse down, to keep holding on to the lead rope as long as it's safe, and to try to keep him as close to a halt or a slow walk as I can so that it's easier for the instructor and sidewalkers to safely dismount the rider. Once the rider is off of the horse, I need to remove the horse from the scene. So I will walk away from the rider and the sidewalkers. They will stay with the rider and I will stay with the horse. Keep in mind, as long as you have the ability to do so, try to move the horse in a direction where they will not be swinging their hind end towards the rider if the rider has fallen on the ground or is still standing near the horse. So remove the horse from where the rider and the sidewalker is and work on keeping them calm. If the horse is spooking and is not able to calm down, the instructor may ask you to remove the horse from the arena, but further instruction will come. During the emergency dismount, if you're a sidewalker, you may have two sidewalkers or one sidewalker. I'm going to call the sidewalker that's going to be the one actually pulling the rider off the horse the lead sidewalker. So you may be on the left-hand side of the horse or the right-hand side of the horse, depending on where the leader is, if there's one sidewalker. The job of the lead sidewalker is to make sure that the rider is not holding the reins, their foot is out of the stirrup, and they will be the one physically removing them off the horse. We will show how to do that in a few minutes. If you have a team of two sidewalkers with the rider, the supporting sidewalker or the sidewalker on the right-hand side will assist in making sure that the rider's leg clears the saddle easily and is not in the stirrup. Another important thing to remember if you are a sidewalker is once the rider is off of the horse, you're going to stay with the rider. You will assist them in walking away from the horse. When you are doing the emergency dismount, if they happen to stumble or fall or slid to the ground, you will stay with them on the ground as the leader moves the horse away. So now we're going to show you the steps of the emergency dismount one at a time. So we're going to break it up into steps a little bit slower so you can see it, and then we'll put it all together in real time so you can see what it looks like in normal speed. So if I need to take the rider off of the horse, the first thing I want to make sure is that there's nothing that they're going to get tangled up on or stuck in. So I'm going to go ahead and get them to drop their reins and say, hands clear. I'm going to take their foot out of the stirrup. Feet are clear. If you don't have an offside sidewalker, you can ask them to help get their foot out of the stirrup if they can. If they can't, that's okay. It will usually come out when you start to pull them off. But the offside sidewalker will also be in charge of taking their foot out of the stirrup. So once everything's clear, we're ready to get the rider off. I'm going to grab and support at her hips, and I'm just going to take her straight off the horse and move her away so that she stays safe. In the time where you have two sidewalkers, the offside or right-hand sidewalker will assist with the emergency dismount. So Kelly is still going to be our lead volunteer in pulling the rider off of the horse, but I can help and make sure that the leg doesn't get stuck and help get the foot out of the stirrup. So we're going to go through that again. Kelly will initiate the dismount. We're both taking foot clear. And that way it's easier for the rider to get off and make sure that nothing is getting tangled up in the stirrup on this side. Most of the time, if our riders only have one sidewalker, you're going to be on the right-hand side because the leader is leading from the left-hand side. So it gives you a little more space around the horse. So you will be the lead volunteer and be doing the emergency dismount to the right if the rider needs that level of support. So everything is the same. You're still going to make sure they let go of the reins, the feet are out of the stirrup. You're just pulling them to you on the right-hand side of the horse. So we'll let go of the reins, feet out of the stirrups, around the hips, pull to you, turn away from the horse. There are some situations where you may have a more independent rider and they can participate or do the whole emergency dismount themselves. So when you know how much support your rider needs, sometimes you're just kind of there to direct them down. Sometimes you're verbally talking through them, or sometimes if the instructor's in the center of the ring, they're going to be dismounting themselves. So Jean Marie is going to go ahead and drop her reins. She's going to take her feet out of the stirrups. She's going to lean forward, hug her horse, swing that leg over, and slide and push herself away and walk off. Very nice. And I was there as a sidewalker to help if she lost her balance, but if they're independent, they can do most of that themselves. Lots of times emergency dismounts can come up when the horse isn't spooking or there's not a noticeable emergency, but maybe the rider has gotten off centered or is losing their balance or has lost a stirrup. So as a sidewalker, you always want to make sure you're staying engaged and checking in. But if our rider's lost a stirrup and we're walking along, suddenly they begin to slide and we go around a turn, go ahead and catch them and do an emergency dismount. During our demonstration, we were working with a younger, smaller rider, and it is easier to pull them off of the horse. We do have adults in our program, so there will be times where we may need to support an adult with an emergency dismount. Keep in mind, the principles are the same, but you will need to make sure that you are getting a more secure stance. You are prepared to take the weight, but don't hold them in your arms, rather slow their descent down to the ground. Gravity is going to help them get off the horse. You just want to kind of steer them as safely as possible to the ground. You may not be able to hold all of their weight, but just try to help slow it down, and you can use your body to let them slide down your leg or support them in different ways. Just ensure that you're protecting yourself by not leaning over, putting your lower back at risk, or by keeping your feet together where you could lose your balance and fall down. So if you're working with an adult, make sure that you are prepared to receive an additional amount of weight in a safe way to yourself as well. Thank you so much for watching our emergency dismount video. No emergency will be the same. So there may be times where you have to adjust based on the rider you're working with or the situation that you're approached with. At the end of the day, our main goal is getting the rider safely off the horse and decreasing the risk of injury. So if you follow these methods, I think you'll find that it's easier to remove the rider from the horse in a safe way. We really appreciate all that you do out here at Helping Horse, and we're grateful for you and how you're helping to keep our lessons as safe as possible. Thank you for your time.